Thou shalt not covet. Thou shalt not covet is the last of the 10 Commandments. What is coveting? Coveting is when you lust for something that belongs to someone else, or when you lust for something unlawfully. The first case of this was found in Genesis chapter 3 when Eve lusted after the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We're going to read this in Genesis chapter 3 verse 1 through 6. It says, Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yah Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath Elohim said, You shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the middle of the garden Elohim hath said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die. For Elohim do know that in the day that you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and the tree desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Coveting can literally cause you to break every commandment of Yah. If a man coveted after what is his neighbor's, he will steal, kill, lie, and destroy to get it. People will worship other gods and commit idolatry to acquire things as well. Achan got himself and his whole family killed because he coveted. We can read this in Joshua chapter 7, verse 19 through 26. It says, And Joshua said unto Achan, My son, give, I pray thee, glory to Yah Elohim of Israel, and make confession unto him. And tell me now what thou hast done. Hide it not from me. And Achan answered Joshua and said, Indeed, I have sinned against Yah Elohim of Israel, and thus have I done. When I saw among the spoils a goodly Babylonish garment and 200 shekels of silver, and a wedge of gold of 50 shekels weight, then I coveted them, and took them. And behold, they are hid in the earth in the midst of my tent, and the silver under it. So Joshua sent messengers, and they ran unto the tent. And behold, it was hid in his tent, and the silver under it. And they took them out of the midst of the tent, and brought them unto Joshua, and unto all the children of Israel, and laid them out before Yah. And Joshua and all Israel with him took Achan the son of Zerah, and the silver, and the garment, and the wedge of gold, and his sons, and his daughters, and his oxen, and his asses, and his sheep, and his tent, and all that he had, and they brought them unto the valley of Achor. And Joshua said, Why hast thou troubled us? Yah shall trouble thee this day. And all Israel stoned him with stones, and burned them with fire, after they had stoned them with stones. And they raised over him a great heap of stones unto this day. So Yah turned from the fierceness of his anger. Wherefore the name of that place was called the Valley of Achor unto this day. We also know King David. King David murdered a man because he coveted his wife. We're going to read this in 2 Samuel chapter 11, verse 1 through 5. And it came to pass after the year was expired, at the time when the kings go forth to battle, that David sent Joab and his servants with him, and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon, and besieged Rabbah. But David tarried still at Jerusalem. And it came to pass in evening tide that David arose from off his bed and walked upon the roof of the king's house. And from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, Is not this Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite? And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness. And she returned unto her house, and the woman conceived, and sent and told David, and said, I am with child. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab, and sent it by the hand of Uriah. And he wrote it in the letter, saying, Set Uriah in the forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye from him, that he may be smitten and die. Those last two verses was verse 14 to 15. And then we're going to read 26 to 27. It says, And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah her husband was dead, she mourned for her husband. And when the mourning was past, David sent and fetched her to his house, and she became his wife, and bare him a son. But the thing that David had done displeased Yah. And we also know that Judas betrayed the Messiah because he coveted money. Matthew chapter 26, verse 14 to 16. It says, Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests and said unto them, What will you give me? And I will deliver him unto you. And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time he saw opportunity to betray him. And then we could go on and on. Esau sold his birthright for stew. We were enslaved because our ancestors were constantly coveting those around them. The list goes on. This is why we are to be content and grateful with what we have. We can read various scriptures. Philippians chapter 4, verse 6, it says, Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto Elohim. See, ask what you want. Ask Yah, pray to him, right? The Most High gave us all a mind and a body, and health. If Yah have given you that, be grateful for that and work, right? Pray and work, right? This is what happened with Cain and Abel. Cain, he just told Cain, look, I didn't accept your offering, but just go back and work harder and bring a better offering and I'll accept it. But Cain didn't want to do that. Colossians chapter 3, verse 15 says, And let the peace of Elohim rule in your hearts, to the which you are also called in one body, and be ye thankful. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 18, In everything give thanks, for this is the will of Elohim in Christ Yeshua concerning you. All right. James told us if we have need for something, that we should ask the Most High for it. We could read this in James chapter 4, verse 2 through 3. It says, You lust and have not. You kill and desire to have and cannot obtain. You fight in war, yet you have not because you ask not. You ask and receive not because you ask amiss, that you may consume it upon your lust. Right? And Paul also told us to work and mind our own business and be quiet. We all have a life of our own, and we should not worry about the portion that others obtain. Okay. In Luke chapter 12, the Messiah told us, he said, man's life does not consist of the things that he have. Okay. People that think their life consists of the things that they have, they get jealous and envious when they see people that have a lot of things, instead of them going and being grateful and then going and working with the body that the Most High gave them to get their own. Okay, that's why coveting is evil. All right, so all praises to the Most High. Shalom. Thou shalt not covet.